Hi, my name is Rebecca Daly. I'm a student at the Gemological Institute of America in the Graduate Gemology program. If you're here, you're likely in the jewelry industry or have an affinity for antique or vintage jewelry as a collector. Or maybe you're looking and doing some research trying to find the right engagement ring. Jewelry from other eras has definitely made a comeback in the past decade or so. Many people, such as myself, are drawn to not only the uniqueness, but the sustainability and ethical advantage of purchasing a ring that has been cherished by multiple generations. Although some time periods for these styles overlap, they've been given designated names. So let's start with the first, the Georgian era, which spanned from 1714 to 1837. Prior to this time, jewelry in general was reserved only for royalty. Throughout this 116-year period, four English kings named George and one named William were in reign. This is the least recognized era, mostly due to the scarcity of authentic pieces. During this time, jewelers they would actually melt down what was considered out of date pieces and then make whatever was on trend. So, Georgian jewelry is actually fairly hard to find. The main telltale sign of authentic piece is the lack of a metal purity or maker's mark. Gold assaying, which required the type of metal and its purity to be stamped inconspicuously on the piece of jewelry, that wasn't enforced until the 1900s. And the maker's mark, the stamps that indicated the company or person that produced the piece, wasn't seen as necessary. At the time, only higher carat gold was recognized as actual gold, so 18 karat to 22 karat. So what characterizes Georgian jewelry? Since it's such a long time period, the styles did change a bit. In the beginning, pieces were ornate and symmetrical, with more open designs that looked like lacework. Natural motifs followed, with the thought of leaves, flowers, snakes, etc., but also bows, ribbons, and hearts were incorporated. Diamonds were the stone of choice until the 1750s, then colored stones made an appearance. Ruby, sapphire, garnet, coral, pearl, and agate. The gemstone cuts that were mostly used in the Georgian period were rose cut and the old mine cut. The rose cut is a round with a dome top and a flat bottom. Old mine cut stones are a rounded square shape with numerous facets, which resembles today's modern round brilliant cut. These stones were often foil backed. A thin piece of metal, similar to tinfoil, adhered to the back of the stone that would improve the brightness and color of these stones in candlelight. Other than these faceted gemstones, you also will eventually see cabochons, which are flat backed with a dome top, and also briolettes, which have facets all around and hang like beads. We also start seeing mourning jewelry, which it's jewelry that symbolizes being in mourning from the loss of a loved one. They would actually even incorporate the hair of those who they lost into these pieces of jewelry. Next up, we have the Victorian era, from around 1837 to 1901. During Queen Victoria's reign, gold and silver were the go-to metals for jewelry, and the stones that saturated the industry were garnets, sapphires, amethyst, turquoise, pearls, and of course diamonds. Natural motifs still remained strong, but more so surrounding animals. Snakes were especially popular. During this time period, jewelry became more economically accessible for a couple of reasons. With technological advances, jewelry no longer had to be 100% hand fabricated. Part of the work was now on the machines. 18 and 22 karat gold wasn't the only recognized gold anymore. 9 karat to 14 karat was now accepted. And this made jewelry more accessible to people in all walks of life. Themes started with branches and flowers, but then led to being serpents and snakes, as I mentioned before. Victorian jewelry had cameos, lockets, and animal pieces throughout the entire period, but later on, mourning jewelry came back to the public eye after Queen Victoria's mother and Prince Albert died within the same year. Many mourning jewelry pieces were made for her to actually gift other people, and non-royal citizens would also wear mourning jewelry for Prince Albert's death. Changes around the world also started to affect the Victorian style. Discoveries in Egypt led to scarabs and falcons being used as motifs. Around 1880, when electricity was becoming more popular, diamond preference outweighed the desire for colored stones. The opinion was that the colored stones that they loved in candlelight seemed a little bit off in the new light source. Next up, we have the Edwardian era. It's a very short era, it's only 1901 to 1910, so I don't have too much to say about it. Um, anyway, so it was characterized by luxury, elegance, and refinement. Although short, it aspects of it can still be seen in current day designs due to its timeless, elegant detailing. Pearls and diamonds were admired, and platinum came onto the scene. Platinum became favored because of its strength and capability to be crafted into more intricate designs. It allowed jewelers to create delicate and lacy pieces. These romantic designs featured open work motifs and intricate piercings. Inspiration was drawn from ribbons and bows, along with floral motifs. This period had much more intricate designs, such as filigree and milligrane. Now we have Art Nouveau from 1890 to 1914. Nature was its inspiration. It came about mostly in reaction to increasingly mass manufactured jewelry. Those that revered artisanal practices criticized and rejected the growing industrialization of jewelry. Many believed that high quality art could only be created by the individual hand of an artist. This brought about Art Nouveau, which is all about organic, ornate, and highly decorative designs, with draping, flowing lines, and natural motifs. Jewelry of this era featured curved shapes inspired by plants. Common motifs included various flowers such as lilies, organic materials like peacock feathers, and creatures such as dragonflies. Symbolism was celebrated. For example, the dragonfly symbolized change and transformation, while lilies represented purity and beauty. Art Nouveau jewelers used materials for aesthetics rather than monetary worth. Gemstones were not the main focus at this time, and they were mostly used to embellish and complete the overall image the piece was creating. Pearls and less monetarily valuable stones such as moonstone, amethyst, citrine, chrysoprase, lapis, um, they were on the scene and often used as cabochons. At this time, diamonds were more likely to be used as accent stones than a centerpiece like we usually do today. There was an increase in the use of silver, but gold did remain popular depending on the locality of where the jeweler lived. They also incorporated much less traditional materials such as ivory and enamel. Art Nouveau jewelry is directly associated with the use of enamel to make a stained glass effect. The most popularly known antique jewelry period as of today was the Art Deco era, which is also my personal favorite, and that spanned from about 1920 to 1945. Think bold, geometric, and the recognition of man-made achievements. Beyond the geometric patterns, abstract designs, and contrasting primary colors, there was a sense of celebration of the industry and advancement. Art Deco stepped away from the organic ideals of Art Nouveau. Squares, rectangles, triangles, and trapezoids were arranged in symmetrical and repetitive patterns. Precision and a sense of order was the core of this style. Now, both platinum and white gold were preferred, and diamonds were centerpieces again. Colored stones such as sapphires and rubies, emerald as well, were also included. But with our last era, platinum was out of the picture. During the retro era, which spanned from throughout the 1940s and 1950s, World War II was active and armies needed precious metals, especially platinum. Platinum was actually deemed a strategic metal and was used for rifle and engine parts along with explosives. Palladium was substituted for platinum, and low carat gold with high copper percentages were common. Overall, precious metals were scarce, along with gemstones in general. And if you wanted to have a new piece of jewelry, you often had to provide your own metal. Amethyst, citrine, moonstone, and aquamarine, those became the highlight of this time. It's just big, bold pieces of jewelry, often emerald cut with diamonds accompanying as the accents. Motifs included ribbons and bows, but they were different than the ribbons and bows from Edwardian jewelry. Instead of being like light and lacy, retro pieces with the bows, it would be big, bold, gold, kind of in your face. Think high polish, dramatic, large stones. All right, that's it. That's the 6 most recognized jewelry of the eras. Thank you for joining me on this journey. There's so much more history and facts that I actually couldn't get. There's no way I could have gotten to all of that. But I hope you learned something and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.